Good day. In my previous video, I was showing the 8 different steps of proper, likely successful implementation. I told you I would spend some time on each step, but I'm going to spend a lot of time on step number 1. In fact, this may end up being multiple videos because step number 1 is so very, very important. It's discovery. Can you say that multiple times? You should, because it's so very, very important. So first, I'm going to talk about discovery outside of, in general, like in any software, new software implementation. I say that because, as I've told you many times before, we come from a custom software world where we start in some way with a blank slate, even where we start with a template like a CRM template or a project management template. It's still looked at as somewhat of a blank slate. It inspires the client as a starting point, but the idea is they always have different data requirements, different workflows, different business logic that we have to go through. With an ERP, it's usually different because the goal is to not customize. I say that as an implementer with development experience, but it truly is, right? The goal is, let's try to not customize. Let's try to use the systems as much as possible so that we can easily deploy it and get your users using it, make everybody happy. And so with that in mind, it's not as much of a blank slate per se, but it does require going through lots and lots of questions, getting answers, trying to make sure that you're discovering everything involved in their business. So where does that start? First, it starts with people. It starts with, ideally, in an ideal world, meeting in person on site with the people involved. In a small or medium-sized business, that's typically not that hard. They're hopefully in one location, and you can go there and you can meet with everyone, start to build a relationship with them, talk through what is it, what's their day-to-day look like, what kind of workflows do they have, what data requirements do they have, what reporting needs do they have, what are their pain points. Talk through all of that stuff before you're even talking about how it will work with their new system. You're looking at their existing functionality, you're looking at their existing use cases, and then in the back of your head, you're thinking about, okay, how will this work in the system you're implementing? In this case, and you're typically not even showing them the new system at all. You're just discovering their system. You're taking tons of notes. You're recording videos. You're doing whatever it takes to be able to refer back to their systems as a way to answer questions that you have in your head as you're going through things, thinking about how that will translate to the new system. So now let's talk about the next step. You've done that discovery with their people, and this is important. I said people. It's not, you may have one project manager there or maybe a couple people that are their main, but it's super critical that during discovery you get below that group of people and you're talking to the actual users who are going to be using the system, because they're the ones at the end of the day that have the pain, that are going to be using the new system, that even though other people may have bought the system and you may be dealing with them on a day-to-day basis moving forward, when it comes to the actual users using the system, it's critical that during discovery you're talking to as many of those people as possible. All right, so you've gotten through that, and now you're going to talk through Odoo with them. This is during discovery, but it's like the second phase of discovery. I'm going to talk about that in the second video because I'm at 5 minutes now, and I think that was plenty. So I'm going to do that, how to do discovery with Odoo. We'll do that next.